Hey everyone, it's Dave with davidspassage.com and coming to you with another video. And I know it's been a long time since I've been able to put a video up, but with my work schedule through December, it was just crazy. I couldn't get out anyways. I did do some hunting, but I was one of the ones that had no luck this year in Michigan, lower Michigan, and getting any deer. So wasn't able to come to you with any of those videos, but I'm really excited. Last year here in Michigan, it was pretty warm, so we didn't, around this time in winter, it was really warm. We didn't really get a whole lot of snow. But this year we've got a bunch of snow, and it's cold as all get out. I think it's like 15 or 20 degrees today, which means for me, it's camping season. Now, I know that's kind of crazy. A lot of people think, man, it is crazy to go camping in the cold. And I would say for probably most people it is. But I really have come to enjoy camping out in the cold for a lot of reasons. And so I thought I would share with you a little bit, if it's something that you're interested in doing, just to go over, my kit in terms of what I'm going to be taking out. My buddy from outside Michigan is going to be going with me this Friday. We're going to be hiking on the North Country Trail into a forest, and we're going to do a little overnighter in our hammocks. He actually picked up a hammock, I think sometime in September. Has been wanting to get into it, so we've been talking a little bit about it. And so he's going to go hammock camping with me in the snow. It's going to be great. One of the things I really love about wintertime camping, first of all, there's no bugs. Now, I'm not one of those people that's really like squeamish of bugs, but if they're not around, it makes it a lot easier. Another thing I really like about camping in the wintertime is the solitude. I don't know if you've ever been in the middle of a woods when, after there's been some fresh snow on the ground, and you make it's almost like you just get like the most quiet, peaceful feeling, in a sense of your surroundings, and that is really a cool sound to sleep to. It's a cool sound to wake up to, wake up and watch the sunrise just glowing over that snow, and it's just a lot of fun. Anyway, there's a lot of reasons why I like to camp in the wintertime, but for this video, what I wanted to do is just go through my pack, what I'm going to be taking this weekend along with me. I'm going to go through all the things that I take except for food and clothing. That's something for another video. If you want some of my backwoods recipes or whatever, I'll make another video for that. But what I do want to do is I want to go through my pack, show you the basics of what I'm going to be taking to be, to stay dry, to stay warm, to stay safe, and just to go through that, to stay entertained a little bit. And yeah, so anyways, I'm just going to ramble on a bit and let you, sort of see how I do it. And this is a pretty cheap setup that I've got here. Now, some of the hammock campers I've seen on the interwebs and whatnot, they buy these hundreds of dollars worth of underquilts and stuff like that. And if you got that kind of money to throw around, more power to you. I don't, but I found some things that work that's a lot cheaper. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about some of the things I do to secure my pack, how to pack it, that sort of thing. Again, I'm not going to go over clothing or food this time just because that's for another video, but I am going to talk about pretty much the basics of what's going to be in my pack this weekend. So stick around and hopefully you get through it as I'm rambling here. Okay, so while not a huge deal for a lot of people, this is my hygiene bag. It's got pretty much everything I'm going to need in it for hygiene. I've got toilet paper, bio wipes, some hand sanitizer, toothbrush, toothpaste. I'm one of those people that when I wake up, I gotta brush my teeth or else I can't I can't do anything. I gotta freshen up a bit. Next up, just talk a little bit about my fire kit. Real simple kit. I don't take a lot with me into the woods in terms of fire because a lot of times I can get most of it in the woods, but I always take a couple ways to start a fire. First of all, Vaseline soaked cotton balls. I had made a video on that a little while back. These are still kicking. Out of this little old Mentos container, I probably could start, 20 fires or so. Not that I need that many, but it stays in my kit. Got a little Coghlan's ferrocerium rod. Some people have had mixed reviews on these things. You know what? I've probably started 100 fires with this and have never had a problem with it. And of course, I always take a lighter. That whole kit goes in a Ziploc bag. And I can't stress this enough. I learned this the hard way last time. Is just a good quality headlamp. This is a Princeton Tech Quad LED. It takes 3 AAA batteries. I'm taking an extra set. Now, even though I'm going to be gone just a couple days and I probably won't burn through it, I know these batteries in here are already kind of old, so I'm taking a little bit extra just in case these wear out. But just a little scenario for you. I was with my buddy, again, Russ from outside Michigan, and we had to bug out in the middle of the night. just because it got dangerously cold and we weren't prepared for how cold it was. We were going by the weatherman. Don't ever do that, by the way. Don't ever trust the weatherman. Prepare for colder. I learned that the hard way. We had to bug out, and I learned that night the importance of a decent headlamp. So we'll be taking that. Got a little thermometer here with Fahrenheit and Celsius scale on there. It's a really lightweight thermometer. It's pretty fragile, but I think it'll do the trick. Of course, now when you go in the woods, especially in wintertime, you got to really have a good cutting tool. This is just my Eastwing hatchet. I need to clean it up a bit and sharpen it. I always sharpen my knives and stuff before I go on a trip because I don't want to be out in the middle of the woods and find out that my stuff is dull. I always take care of that beforehand. You know, and I'll use this to process firewood and yeah, pretty much. Here's my Mora knife. Okay, this is my Mora, I think it's my Triflex knife. Little cool thing about this, I just did, if you ever want to try this sometime, I took some paracord. This is just 550 paracord, and I was able to knot it back here and wrap it tightly around in such a way so that I probably have, I don't know, 20 feet or so of paracord on there. It's handy to have, and then it stays on there really tight. I've never had to use it, but I always keep, some extra paracord on hand in case I need it. So again, got to have a good cutting tool. Basic first aid kit. I always take this in the woods with me. It's got my inhaler, gauze, antiseptic stuff, bandages, little orange bandana for whistle, some basic meds. I've never had to crack into one of these, not for myself at least. When I've taken other people on trips, I've had to, share, but, I'm sure there'll come a day. It's kind of like, insurance. There's going to come a day when you need it, and if you don't have it, you're really going to wish you had. I'll talk a little bit about my cook kit, and some logic behind my cook kit. First of all, just an Alpine cup. I like to use in my cook kit and in my water, storage and that sort of thing. I like to use all metal in wintertime because, simply put, I can put this stuff by a fire and not worry about it getting ruined. Anyways, I always have an Alpine cup. I like to start my day off with a cup of coffee, night off with some hot chocolate maybe. Again, I can boil water in that and leave it by the fire. It's not going to do anything to it. I got a couple of water bottles here. Okay. And I got my main water bottle. That's this water bottle. They're both 1 liter water bottles. This is a stainless steel water bottle. This is an aluminum water bottle. It's just a cheapy, junky water bottle. I mostly use this for just storing water. Now, in the wintertime, one of the things you got to kind of worry about, or just kind of keep an eye on, is if water's in a bottle like this, it has a tendency to freeze, or just being in the wintertime, it has a tendency to freeze. So another reason why I like to keep it in metal bottles. I can keep this relatively close to a fire, and it's going to keep that water unfrozen. Now, about this bottle in particular, you can see it's been through a few fires, and this is a stainless steel water bottle. I picked this up at Walmart for $3, and there's a couple things I really like about it, and one of the things I did to make a modification of it, I think I wanted to share about. First thing I like about it has a nice wide mouth. Now, I could take that mouth and I could scoop snow into it relatively easy. With this, as you can see, the opening on that is not very big. So I could take this and just scoop snow, pack it in snow, melt the snow in the bottle, and that sort of thing. One thing I did do to this bottle, I would suggest that you do if you have a stainless steel water bottle, especially with a wide mouth, is I took a coat hanger, cut it off, wrapped it around, made this little loop. And the reason why I did that is because now I can boil water in this thing, and I have something up here I could put a stick in to grab on. I can put a carabiner in this to hold that on. If I want to dangle it over a fire, I can put a carabiner on a tripod. I can use this to hang it up somewhere when I put it in the fire. Okay, because it's wire, it's good quality wire hanger. I mean, it's not like if something goes wrong with it, I'm just gonna bust a 2-cent hanger and fix it. But I can leave this in the fire and nothing's gonna happen to this hanger. Yet it gives me a place to hook onto, gives me a place to suspend it over a fire if I want us to build make it a little bit more stable, that sort of thing. So one thing I'm looking at, trying to mod this in such a way so as I can ditch this plastic lid. Now the plastic lid works fine, but if I put that in a fire, it's not going to do very well. Then the lid won't do very well. So I'm kind of tinkering with some ideas on how to make a little metal thing over here so I could keep the whole thing in the fire and not have to worry about it. I can boil water in there. Okay, now on to the cook kit. You've seen this in some of my other videos. This is just a basic your cheapo $5 Walmart aluminum mess kit. Now, this is my junk pot. I keep that as a junk pot / lid. You can see it's kind of jank inside there. And the reason why is because when I go out in the woods, I like to have something to put my stove on. Now, my stove, you've seen, you know, if you watch my other videos, there's my stove. And that's kind of banged up too. I need to clean it up. Man, I haven't been out with this thing in a while. I need to clean this stuff up. I can't go in the woods looking like it. No, I'm just kidding. But I like to set my stove inside of there, and what that does is that helps block, you know, a little bit of the wind, but it also, when you put the pot on, when I put the pot on, you can see it kind of, it sort of acts as a windbreak a little bit, and I can boil water in here and that sort of thing. If I need a pot to eat out of, I'll use the other side of this. Okay. Also in there is a little titanium spork. I picked this up at Gander Mountain on sale for like, I don't know, super cheap. Thing's incredibly lightweight, incredibly tough. And at one point I was using this Eaton tool, and that's a great thing. It's got a lot of neat little features on it. It's got a bottle opener and some hex wrenches and a little, I don't know, thing like that. But when I compared the size of them, first of all, this was like $6, and I think I paid like $6 for this on sale. Maybe it was 12. You know, they're not a whole lot different in size, but this is probably 75% lighter than this. This is sort of a solid steel. It's very rugged, whereas this is titanium, so it's a lot lighter. So I kind of switched to that guy, and that fits right in there too. So there's my heat. Now I use this, the heat I use as a secondary way to cook. You know, I've got the stove, I use the stove and the heat, but my first choice is to use fire, just because you know, the heat really for me is a backup. It's reliable. If the wood's all wet, I can use the heat. But if the wood's dry and it's just plentiful, I'm going to use fire just so I don't have to waste, you know, the heat. I don't want to waste a resource when I already have one that's all around me. So, yeah, heat with the alcohol stove, and that all fits in there perfectly. If you didn't get a chance, I had another video I showed you how to make one of those alcohol stoves, and it's actually, I made it out of this water bottle, or this similar type of water bottle. I bought that for $1 at the dollar store. Oh, and in my cook kit, I always have a cotton bandana so I can pick things up when they're hot. A couple pieces of tin for a windbreak. This is a really cool thing. I've grown to love more and more, not just because of what it is, but because of what it is, I guess. This is my waterproof Bible. Believe it or not, waterproof Bible, and that thing is waterproof. I've been kayaking with this thing through whitewater, and it's been soaked before, but you know, it's still dry. The pages aren't moldy. After it gets wet, though, I kind of try to dry it out. But it's just a New Testament. But I picked it up. I like to read the Bible, and so when I wake up in the morning, I can grab that. It's waterproof. I don't have to worry about it getting messed up if it rains or if it gets dropped in the snow or anything like that. That's all the small stuff. Believe it or not, that's not a lot of stuff. If I back the camera up, I mean, as far as a base, you know, base items, that's not a big deal. Now, on to some of the bigger items. Oh, I've so grown to love this thing. This is my military sleep system. I think I paid $100 for it. This is actually three sleeping bags inside of this kit. Here, if you can see, these are 1 liter water bottles. You can see how big the bag is. Now, I had to sit on it to squish it to this size, granted, because when it's open, I mean, it's got a lot of loft to it. I'll tell you, I really love this. Man, I really love this sleep system. The reason why is it keeps you warm and it keeps you dry. Now, the downside to the MSS, the military sleep system, is though that it is heavy. It is way heavier compared to something that is equivalent in down. But this is rated at -40 degrees. In order for you to get a down sleeping bag at -40 degrees, you are going to be paying, or at least, I guess, an equivalent rating, and you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars, $300-400, I would, you know, at least, for a quality sleeping bag that's going to keep you dry and is going to keep you that warm. This will do it. This will do it, and I only paid like $100 for it. By the way, any of these products you see, if you're interested in finding out more of them, you can check out my website, davidspassage.com, and there's links there. If you follow the link to this video on my website, I'll actually put all of this stuff on there if you wanna support me further by purchasing this stuff through Amazon. Again, it keeps you warm, it keeps you dry, and it's so versatile. If you buy a $400 or $500 down sleeping bag, let's say it's rated to -20 degrees, okay? First of all, you're not going to take that same sleeping bag with you in the summertime. You're going to have another $200 sleeping bag in order, well, maybe not that much even, but you're going to have another sleeping bag that you're going to be taking with you in the summertime. I'm telling you guys, for what this is, it's great. The extra weight is totally worth it, because in the summertime I can do different things with it. Because it's 3 sleeping bags in one, I can take out the black bag or the green bag, the patrol bag, whatever they call it, and I can use them in any kind of combination in order to get the desired, I guess, wind and rain protection and temperature protection. So, man, I'll tell you what, it's probably been the best sleeping bag I've ever purchased. Plus, the thing is built like a rock. I mean, the zippers are incredible. All right, enough about that. These little straps I got to cinch it down. I just bought these at Walmart. You can pick those up at Walmart. Little nylon cinch straps. Next thing, I think I talked a little bit about this last time. The trekking poles. Trekking poles are one of those things I've grown to love. With the little snow dealie on the bottom there. We're gonna be hiking into some snow. Those are very important to me. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my sleep shelter kit here, just to give you an idea of how big that bag is. Okay, well, probably a little bit bigger than a gallon jug of water. I'm going to show you what's all inside it though. This is where I keep everything that I'm going to sleep with. Okay. First of all, reflective tarp. It's bright on one side. I've seen them green on some other people's videos. Bright on one side, and then it's got that shiny stuff on the other side. What I like to do with this, I'm a hammock camper, so when I lay in my hammock, what I'll probably either do is one of two things. I'll either lay this underneath on the very next to the hammock, and then I'll put my thermarest on top of that, and then my sleeping bag. Or because it has these eyelets, what I can do is string it up, hook it up to my ridgeline in such a way that I can pull it up, use it as sort of an underquilt, and then I can even pack stuff underneath this to give it a little bit more loft between this and then the hammock itself. So, reflective tarp. Here's one of them little Mylar blanket dealies. This is one of the cheapo, the really chintzy ones. These, surprisingly, these really do help. They carry an extra one of these Mylar blanket dealies because they don't weigh much, they don't take up a whole lot of space, and then I can really use this to get versatile with things if I want to set it up as a reflector for a fire, or, however, if I want to cover it over myself. Next up, this is just a little piece of, this is extra paracord. I got a bunch of extra paracord. I like to take extra paracord in the wintertime just because in case I need it for, like if I want to string up my extra reflectives or whatever. This is the ridge line to my hammock tarp setup. Okay, Kelty Noah 12. You've seen this in some of my other videos. Amazing product. Extremely versatile. It's Coghlan's. MSR makes a similar one of these. It's a stake. It's sort of a triangular, shape right here. I can't remember what they're called, but I think I paid like $3 or $4 for these, and the MSRs are like $20, and they are no different. Man, I tell you what, these things are the same exact thing. They're just aluminum triangular shapes. Because of that sort of triangular shape, they are super strong. They're not going to bend like other stakes. Plus, because they're aluminum, they're really lightweight. I don't know. Anyways, so I got that in there, and then finally, double nest. You guys have seen this in some of my other videos, I'm sure. Got the double nest and a couple straps in there. Alright. So that's my entire sleep kit. That's pretty much everything I need to sleep so far. Alright, one more thing. Forgot to tell you about. This is this is just an cheap old thermarest. Okay, it's a close-cell foam pad. You can see the ends of this. Here's where I go a little bit off the beaten path in terms of hammock camping. A lot of hammock campers that I see or online or that I read about you know, they're spending $300–400 for these things called underquilts. You know, they're basically a sleeping bag that you can string up to your ridge line. They're usually filled with down, and what they do is they protect the underside of you from the wind and cold, from blowing the wind and cold that's going to be blowing underneath you when you're hammock camp. As of the time I'm actually making this video, I don't have $300–400 to spend on an underquilt. I'm not a rich guy. So what I did was I bought one of these closed cell foam pads from Cabela. I think it was like 20 bucks. And what I like to do is when I set my hammock up, what I'll do is I'll put my reflective tarp under that, or I'll suspend it underneath the hammock, kind of like an underquilt. But then I'll put the this thermarest pad on top of that. Then I'll put my sleeping bag on top of that, and then maybe a wool blanket on top of that, depending on how cold it is. I may or may not include a wool blanket this weekend, depending on how cold the weather is. I think it's only going to get down to like 20, so I probably won't need to do that. But I find, you know, I've been down at least 15, 20 with this sort of setup. Okay, where you have the hammock, the thermarest, reflectives, you know, and the MSS, the military sleep system, and I've been plenty warm. The thing that you dread is waking up in the morning and having to pee when it's 20 degrees out, and that's no fun. Now, if you've got money to spend on one of those underquilts, go for it. Otherwise, this is great. The one downside I would say to this particular sleeping pad is when you roll it out, it wants to stay rolled up because it's been rolled up like this. So what you have to do is either flip it over and put the military sleep system, which is heavy enough to keep it down, but like that, or you have to, you know, kind of roll it out and manipulate it in such a way so that it wants to stay out. I will say though, when you do put this in, okay, when you put your sleeping bag on, it does take a little bit of adjusting, a little bit of, you know, wiggling around in the hammock once you get in order to get this positioned right where it's comfortable. One thing I'd like to say about this, when I tie these things up, this is just another piece of paracord. I use paracord for everything, pretty much, when it comes to cordage. We just want to show you, what I did was I kind of made a little, this is a dedicated piece of paracord that I use to bind this thing up. I just take it off like that. I'm going to show you how I do the knot for it. A lot of times the thermarest things, it came with these two like elastic straps, and you know, they do all right for holding it in my house together, but they don't do a very good job. They don't give you much bite to hook that onto a backpack. So I did a little something I want to show you that allows me to really get this nice and tight on my backpack. First of all, get a piece of little paracord, and I just did a little overhand knot in the paracord, and this piece of paracord is probably about, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet long, 4 feet long, something like that. So I tie those in both ends, and that's basically just to keep the ends from fraying. Then what I do is I tie another overhand knot. This is a similar knot, like if you were putting a new, like if you were respooling a fishing rod, a similar knot that you would use to do that. So I got a loop here, and I bring the knot around like that, just an overhand knot. But what I do is I take this tag in here, come back over the longer end, and then I make a little loop like that, bring it through. Okay, another overhand knot over this guy here. This makes it a little slippery thing. Okay, then I take that other knot that's still in there and I cinch that up. Now, what that allows me to do now is I've got kind of a lasso, and now once I tighten this up, I've got a loop here that's adjustable, but yet when I pull it tight, it stays tight. So I do that. I put that over my thermarest pad, and then I just cinch that knot down. And you can pull it as tight as you like, and it holds really well actually. I've done 2 weeks with this on my back before. I mean, not in 2 separate weeks, but have never had problems. Now you've got this big end here, and what's really neat about that now is I can take that and I can tie it to my pack, because I've got 2 of them. You know, I put one on each end of the pad there. I can tie it anywhere on the pack I like, in any configuration I like. Last but not least, another thing I really scored at an Army surplus store is this. This is the, oh man, this is a Molle pack, I think it is. Is that right? Yep. Oh, it's the Molle II. The Molle II pack. I think I paid $50 for this pack, and I'll show you some of the features of it. But it's a frame pack. A lot of you guys may be familiar with it. Most backpackers would probably laugh at me for showing this thing just because it is kind of a heavier pack. But the thing I like about it is the fact that it's pretty much bulletproof. I don't have to worry about it. You know, with a lot of those really expensive backpacking packs, they're just so stinking fragile. I just feel like I can't, you know, really do much with it. I mean, you know, I'm afraid when I throw it off my shoulder at the end of the day, it's going to rip or something. But just to show you some of the features of it again, if you can see it, it says in here, it says Molle II. It's got a plastic frame, okay, and as part of that plastic frame, it's got all kinds of, I guess, perforations where you can tie stuff to it. And then the shoulder straps are tied to that. I'm not going to go in depth with this pack, but I'm going to just show you a few of the things that I like about it. First of all, it's got this bottom compartment. This bottom compartment is the exact size you need to put the sleep system in. So it fits right in there. That sleeping bag fits in there perfectly. That's what it was made for. I'm going to cut these ends off. I know one thing I did notice about this pack is I've got, like, I don't know, a bunch of this extra webbing at the end. I never use it, so I'm thinking of cutting that off. But it's there in case I needed to guess. But you know, even though I'm using military issue stuff for the pack and the sleep system and that other bag over there, I do look for ways I can trim weight off. And I got this stuff. Part of it's because I know it's durable. The other reason is because I can afford it. Again, this pack was only $50. You know, you buy a quality backpack today, and they're $200-300 sometimes. So fits perfectly in there on that frame, and that's actually independent. You know, this bag can come off of the frame. I don't know if you can see this, or if I can get it up close enough. You see these little clips? No, they're not even clips. They just sort of, they're these metal pieces that sort of slide in here, and then the tension locks them in place. You basically take a couple of those off, and that whole bottom end comes out in case you want to put something else down there. That's really handy. On the main compartment, I got actually the top half. I got a couple things going on here. I got a compartment up here in the front. You know, I like to keep the things I want to get to on a semi-regular or you know, a quick basis in there. Things like my first aid kit, toiletries will go in there. Anything I really, you know, it's one of those things where if I need to get it real quick, that's where I want to put it. So I'm going to pack that up. Take my Alpine cup. It's the kind with one of these little handles. I may get a different one. If I can afford a titanium one, I might, you know, upgrade to that just because it's lighter and whatnot. But for now, I can't. What I like to do is take a carabiner and clip it on there. And then I clip it on the outside of my pack. And sometimes what I'll do is even I'll attach a little something to clang. You know, I could attach the, like for instance, with this Eaton tool, I can put this on here. That way when I'm walking around, it does a couple things. Now it's a bear bell. When I'm hiking, that's a bear bell. So instead of having to have a separate bear bell, I can just do that. I can do that with a titanium spoon too if I wanted, or I'll, you know, however that works. But I'll put that on the outside of my pack somewhere. In terms of cooking, all my my cook kit goes, I put it right in my food bag, but I usually put it at the bottom of the food bag. And then the food goes in here too. And this is just a Sea to Summit goodie bag, and I'll go inside. It's kind of sad, you know, I haven't packed all my food yet. I've got a couple days, so. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video on my winter camping setup. I appreciate your views, I appreciate your subscriptions and comments especially. I love just, sharing what I'm learning about stuff. If you see anything in this kit and you're like, well, hey, try this or do this, please comment. I love to hear that stuff. I'll tell you, a lot of the things that I do today are because of different comments or different videos that I've seen on YouTube. So please feel free to comment and let me know. Again, thank you so much for your subscriptions. Make sure to get out there and camp this wintertime. I know that sounds crazy, but I'll tell you what, I love the solitude in the wintertime that you get when you're in the woods and there's not, you don't hear all kinds of traffic. You don't have all the bugs to worry about. The fire is both keeping you warm and keeping you sane a little bit. And so I would just really encourage you, if you got a chance to try it sometime. Make sure you're safe though. Make sure you do your homework and make sure you're safe. You can really get into a pickle, if you don't prepare well enough. And I would say, just as a caveat to that too, or in addition to that, over prepare. It's okay to over prepare in wintertime for your warmth, because if you're out there and you get a whiteout conditions, or if you lose the trail, you don't have GPS, or your GPS is frozen or whatever, and you don't know how to get out, it can be a really dangerous situation for you. So please don't do that. But do your homework and get out there and camp this winter, because it is great. It's a lot of fun winter camping. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your views and supports, for your comments and subscriptions especially. And hopefully I'll be taking some video with me and my buddy Russ outside Michigan this weekend, so that we can share with you some of the cool things we're able to see and do out in the wintertime. And hopefully maybe spread some wintertime camping cheer your way. So thank you so much. We'll see you. If you can take time to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you can go to facebook.com/DavidsPassage, or follow me on Twitter @DavidsPassage, or hit up davidspassage.com if you want to see some of these products, or if you want some product links in order to order some. If you want to support me through my Amazon partnership deal, you can go to davidspassage.com and look this stuff up. And thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.